makes him shine. It's how the rest of them play super cleanly around him to enable him for success. So it's gonna be an interesting little matchup here that we have today, and yeah, I'm excited to get into it. And like honestly, what a better way to get back into WLD?
Yeah, me too. It's been a little bit of a break since my team got knocked out.
Sad, yeah.
I've taken a little bit of a hiatus, but lovely to be back casting a couple of teams that I know too well for my own good. Both teams
Do you?
kicked our ass.
Oh,
Yeah. So I know what it's like to be on the other side of this teams. I wouldn't want to be playing against them. So it should be an exciting matchup. Looking forward to it. First band's coming out. Mike's favorite hero, the Outworld Destroyer, as I believe he's currently known. Oh yeah, also new patch.
Yeah,
Is this the first WLDL game on the new patch?
No, this is the first WLDL game that we are casting on the new patch. Whether it's the first game, I'm not entirely sure.
I mean, the last, it seems like the last series in WLDL was 6 days ago, which I believe was before the patch. So I believe we're breaking new ground here, Mike. The first WLDL series on patch 7.31. So give me a little brief overview, Mike. What kind of heroes might we be looking out for that
I
may be
really
different
okay.
from
I
the
really
previous
wish
patch?
you didn't ask me this question, but one thing that I noticed the most from my own games is that the games feel a lot more snowbally. It's easier to pick up an early lead and just run away with it. The map somehow feels a lot smaller to me. I don't know why. I think it's just like it feels like this whole meta of just like picking strong fighting, like the whole like being greedy, farming away, that shit doesn't work as well anymore. To me at least, in my limited amount of games. Now, I just want to let you guys, I already see one of the spicy picks coming out from this update. It's Dazzle, got changed immensely this patch with now 2 ultimates. Now more of a core than a support, but I don't know how likely this is to be flexed. I think it's just a spicy pick overall and can present a lot of threats, because I think now his toolkit is a lot more refined. He's no longer as clunky as he used to be. Previously, as a Dazzle support, maybe you kind of, in one hand, like, yes, you can empower a push and a death ball, but it's like not the cleanest, and then you're so scared of being picked off like randomly. But now he has a lot more kind of reliability, like less cooldowns, a reliable, like, okay, this is going to reduce my cooldown by this much. So you kind of know the static values and the things that you're playing towards. And there's an active on his ultimate now, so what's not to love?
Yeah, and I think it's one of those heroes that, even if it's not going to be flexed as a core, is one of those that can sort of become a core in a late game with,
for sure,
different items that you can get. They're just perma-disabling heroes. We've seen clips of sort of 24 seconds of spell immunity. Pretty crazy. So looking for some insane stuff out of this, and a pretty unusual opening on the side of PintxoZeuchy. This is the Disruptor, which is maybe one we expect to see, and then Viper, which is a very interesting.
It might be a bit of a specialty pick. I'm not entirely sure, but one thing I do want to mention is all these heroes have the ability to, like we said, right? We said, or at least for my own experience. Now, I'm not saying, don't take my words for gospel here, but all these heroes have the ability to really just run away with the game, right? OD, Ember Spirit, the Benj. These are mids that can really pick up Snowball, and like after he gets a Meteor Hammer at an early time, there's only so much you can do. Same thing for Dazzle. Even though he's historically not a very strong support that kind of can set the tempo rolling himself, he's one that can back that up, right? Running around the map, keeping his allies topped up as they dive and relentlessly like ravage your backlines. And the Sand King pick, I think this is one of the heroes that has found the most success in the newest patch. Now, I'm not entirely sure what it is about him that makes him so much better now, because they just sort of...
it was the base armor increased by 1, obviously.
Yeah, literally taking no damage on Sand King.
Yeah, taking 0 damage.
So the
one thing I do want to point out about the Dyer's first phase is the Disruptor pick. One of the most interesting changes to me about this patch, one that I think people didn't really pick up on a lot, was the change to Glimpse. The cooldown on level 1 has been halved. It was 48. It's now 24.
A lot more early skirmishing, right?
Like... Yeah, exactly. Genuinely a very good early skill point. Sometimes you would see it early in previous patches where you would sort of try and get a cheeky glimpse on a TP every so often. But now it being cooled down to 24, I am expecting to see this glimpse used a lot more in early skirmishes in the lane.
I'm just interested.
I think it makes the hero a lot more interesting.
Yeah, I think previously, just to add on to your point, I feel like in the past maybe Glimpse, it has such a long cooldown that you sort of need to hold on to it, right? You don't want to throw it out willy-nilly in the fight. You want to make sure you're using it to cancel a long-range channel spell, or you're making sure you win the fight initially, then you glimpse someone back into your hands so you get a bonus kill. Now with the lower cooldown, you can kind of use it a bit more creatively, and I think I'd argue to say it's Disruptor's most creative spell, right? Thunderstrike, you just pop it on someone, it's a nuke, it gives vision, you put it on the most important target, try to focus down. Kinetic Field as well, yes, you can kind of do a little fancy tricks with it, like blocking off some pathways, but it's still pretty straightforward. Glimpse is where a Disruptor's creativity can really shine, and I'm like excited to see what PintxoZeuchy bring out, because one thing that struck me about this team is how much flair they have, right? The biggest thing I remember is Bananas just going absolutely crazy on his position 4 Weaver and just creating so much, going bananas.
Pretty good synergy for the Dire team first phase as well. You've got the Kinetic Field to hold people in place. You throw down another Toxin, they're going to take a lot of damage, and unless they have spell immunity, which obviously they won't later into the game, and sort of, as you can see from their bans, potentially banning heroes that have a good time getting out of Disruptor's Kinetic Field. They ban the PA, who has Jump Away. They have the Jug, who can spin. You're focusing carry heroes that aren't really that bothered by Disruptor, it seems like. On the other side, we've got a bit of a mix. We've got a couple of offlaners in the Darkseer and the Axe Band. Obviously, the Coalition not expecting this Viper to be offlane, which is an interesting thought.
Another big winner of the patch, Tiny, has seen a resurgence as a carry. Yeah, I didn't really see the Battle Fury shenanigans. All I know is that he just sort of got a few numbers rescaled here and there. Tree grab feels a lot better now. Initially, when we read about it, bonus damage rescaled from 20% to 20 flat damage. It didn't sound all that hot, but like all these fine-tuned ups just kind of have made him pretty bonkers, especially with the level 15 talent, right? So tree grab now, bonus damage rescaled from 20% to 20 flat, but now you have a level 15 talent that makes it plus 50% tree grow damage. I think it's tree grab, sorry, they probably misspelled it in the patch notes. So this is definitely one of the premier carries of this meta right now, and if it is in the position 1 slot, it can really take advantage of the Sand King's weak early laning stage, right? Sand King historically, very, very strong once he hits those level 4, level 5 when he has 3 points out in Sandstorm, or when he's shoving Caustic, shoving the lane out with Caustic. But prior to that, it's a bit scary, and Disruptor Tiny is a terrifying lane to go up against. That's going to be kills for sure.
Yeah, a lot of kills set up with the early levels in Avalanche Toss. You have Glimpse to bring them back, Kinetic Field to keep them in place. Do you think Tiny was maybe the biggest winner of the change to bring Shard to 15 minutes, Mike?
I don't know whether you would call him the biggest winner, because there are a lot of good shards out there, but he's definitely one of the premier ones, because the whole thing that made carry Tiny viable was waiting to get the shard, and then suddenly you don't have to care about the cooldown, right? Now, that is, like you said, the duration docked back 5 minutes can definitely keep his tempo going at a pace that he wants to, because in that period of time, 10 to sort of 15 or 10 to even 20 minutes, it's a decision that carry Tiny's had to make, right? You either try and play active on the map and get kills, which is really the only way you can get net worth without your tree grab like constantly on cooldown, or you farm, but like that's such a difficult thing to do, especially since you don't have the inbuilt cleave. And now it just sort of really smoothens out that plateau period where you can play passive, you can play aggressive, and either way it just benefits your bank account. Now we see the Snapfire picked up, and they're actually eating through a lot of reserve time here. They're gonna pick Phantom Lancer, a really good hero against Disruptor and Viper, but not so much against Tiny. But I guess what they're assuming is that right now the Tiny's gonna go in with his combo and the PL's gonna be relatively untouched, and I think I agree with them.
Yeah, I mean it's always scary picking PL. For me at least, as what I would call myself a PL specialist, picking it on this sort of 17 pick where the enemy have a pick before you can even ban heroes to cover, and then also ultimate last pick to counter this PL. And I think PL is very hard to play into these heroes like Lesh, these heroes like, I mean, they have banned out the Axe, Ember also gone. Those are the classic PL counters, but they go for Spirit Breaker.
Ooh.
Interesting. One that was very strong before the patch. I don't believe it was touched too much. It was definitely one of those that people were surprised it didn't get nerfed harder, I think. It did go through some pretty sizable nerfs, but still PintxoZeuchy willing to bring it out. Not a classic PL counter. I think PL does pretty well against Spirit Breaker. And until this last pick, this looks like a pretty nice PL game, is what my thoughts are right now.
Right, I think the main thing is we need to see whether this Spirit Breaker is a core support, because I really don't like the Spirit Breaker as a support. I feel like the one thing it does have going for it is the coalition, they don't exactly have very throwaway stuns, right? They don't have a lot of throwaway disables that they can do to really stop the charge from coming in. So in that way, whoever's playing the Spirit Breaker on PZ can just kind of make his way through the fight and cause a lot of disruption. A lot of the times, for the side of the coalition, you'll want to start the fight off with a Sand King Barrel Strike followed up by maybe a cookie on someone else, and that's how you get in. Then that leaves like little to no disruption for the Spirit Breaker to kind of run in and cause chaos, right? So the last band, Zeus, Pugna, Tinker, and Quap, they seem to believe that this Viper will be on the off lane, and they are going to ban accordingly. It's the last pick mids, and we already have a Pug coming out. That is the choice, and I don't mind this too much. I'm a little worried for it with the Disruptor, but you can always phase shift the Glimpse. The worry is that the instant silence, and maybe once the Spirit Breaker gets Shadow Blade as well, you can kind of charge you from all over the map. And you only really have one save in the Dazzle, but that kind of relies on the Dazzle to have literal foresight.
Yeah. This looks like a very good Static Storm game, but that does mean that a lot of the weight of, I think, this team fight is going to be on this Disruptor. If you can land a good Static Storm onto the PL and Puck, they become pretty useless. I mean, PL, when silenced, is very scary as a PL. Same thing with Puck as well, relies a lot on the mobility. And then the CM last pick. So what are we looking at for the lanes for Pinkto? It looks like Disruptor CM support duo.
Oh, this is interesting, because Bananas used to be their pos 4 player, so I don't know whether they're switching things around because how their players aren't around, but I believe it's going to be the carry Tiny and probably the mid Viper, and perhaps an offlane Spirit Breaker. So if this is a Spirit Breaker,
I would like that.
Yeah, if this is an offlane Spirit Breaker, I'm completely fine with this. Like, it's gonna do a lot of work. Okay, which draft are you liking more though? Because I feel like PZ can really run away with the game, but I feel like a lot of it is how much work their supports can do in the early stages. I feel like CM and Disruptor, they pick such strong early laning supports, right? That can skirmish and fight early compared to like maybe like the Dazzle or Snapfire, who rely a bit more on like minus armor and slowly whittling you down. Yeah. I think if they can bully out the Sand King and PL, like Lupo on this Puck is gonna have a lot of work to go through, and there's so much magic damage to just burst him down when he's unaware, right? So once again, I think PZ have a better draft, but it's really gonna be on Grazing Edge and Bear, right?
Yeah, and I think they have to move very quickly in this draft. I mean, obviously this PL is pretty much going to take over at late game. I don't really see that many answers for him once it gets to a point where he has, 3 or 4 items. And also for the side of PintxoZeuchy, not overwhelming tower damage. I mean, you do have a Viper and Tiny, both of which can hit towers, but you don't have sort of that like troll DP, something that just sort of gives you towers for free, right? They're going to have to play pretty fast and aggressive, but I think it's definitely possible with the lineup they drafted here.
Okay, so one thing I realized from watching a lot of other casters do this is apparently it's a tradition to go through the cosmetics, but I didn't do that. But I do gotta say, it looks initially like both teams are pretty kitted out. I do have to give the advantage over to PZ though, because they got that baller Tiny set going.
Yeah, and I think the coalition, I'm pretty disappointed by this PL set. As a PL sort of connoisseur myself, I'm upset to see no Immortals here. He's gone for the classic look, but I don't think it's really working for him.
I think the only thing that really
got sort of like
the
musket
fishing
in the back.
It's a fishing rod.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm fine with that fishing rod. I'm fine. Going for a bit of a rustic
got the fish on the belt as well, which is nice. It's a nice touch.
Yeah, proving he's already a winner, right? Because he already caught the fish. So all that's left is to kind of like reel it in and get this win for his team on that PL. But before we get lost in the sauce a little bit, let's introduce the teams. Of course, on the left side, on the side of the radio, we have the Norwegian, I can't pronounce that word.
Yes,
Italian Coalition of Dreams. We have Creme de la Ukraine. On that Sand King, we have Midas R, who I believe is Cat. I'm not sure whether she's standing in or whether this is her team. This should be a team, right?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Cat has stood in for a lot of teams.
Yeah, so that is Cat. Aggressive barrel strike in.
Yeah,
could be a little scared. Okay, Pony Ride not gonna opt to expend the mana there, but back to the introductions. We have Lupo on that mid park, And of course, Coalition JBS on that Dazzle. This was the first pick after all, so we're gonna have to see what work it can do. Last but not least, the slightly disappointing Fisherman, but you know, he's still your favorite hero after all. We're gonna be excited to see what work he can do on this PL. It's gonna be ace.
And for the side of PintxoZeuchy, you've got Bananas on what I assume is the offlane Spirit Breaker.
Looks like it.
Grazing Edge coming down to join on what will be a pos 4 CM, which is not one you see typically. It's typically in a pos 5 role. Interesting to see what we'll see out of Grazing Edge. You've got Bet up here on this Disruptor, supporting Mort on the carry Tiny, and then in the mid lane, Pony Ride, the first phase Viper, going up against the Pug.
Yeah, so I think one thing that I want to point out is it's curious to me that they pick... okay, it's not curious to me. I understand this pick on Spirit Breaker.
Yeah.
But I will say that I feel like Dazzle is one... Like, the Spirit Breaker Dazzle in lane matchup is one of the rare ones that Dazzle can actually walk up, hit you, and not be afraid at all. Like, I've been in this position before. You don't really need to be scared of this Spirit Breaker because it takes so long for him to get up to you and wind up, right? And between the both of them, they're never going to have enough damage to burst you if you keep yourself at high levels of HP. Of course, JBS tanking some harass already. But he can kind of make a very free time for his PL over here.
Yeah, and PL is a pretty good hero in lane against Spirit Breaker. Once you get that doppelganger up, and I assume he'll go for it. Well, he might go for it. No, he decides to take the point in Phantom Rush. So
maybe he just wants to tack on that aggression, right? Like he just wants to keep the pressure on.
He's had a pretty good start. I mean, top of the network so far, and I think this CM really has to do a lot of work to sort of make sure Ace does not have a good lane, because these CM spells can definitely hurt. Once you start getting a few levels in the Frostbite Crystal Nova combo, it can really hurt as a PL.
Yeah. Not the highest HP, right?
Yeah, not the highest HP, but the Spirit Breaker usually not a problem for PL in lane. He's going to hit that level 3 pretty soon, and I think pretty untouched. And once you get that, it's pretty easy to dodge out the charge, which I guess is the Spirit Breaker's main sort of form of aggression in the lane.
Yeah, it looks like JBS is tanking a lot of harass here, but I think he's doing exactly what he needs to, right? Because if it's not him, it's going to be his PL, and you much rather tank those spells on the Dazzle. I think he's doing a great job at the moment. Let's take a look at top lane, actually. Creme de la Ukraine and Cat actually doing a pretty good job. I thought they would be harassed out a bit earlier on, but the early level in Caustic probably clearing the wave 2-0. Here comes the Barrel Strike, and immediately in with the little Shredder. Oh, and finishes him off with the Shotgun Blast. Love to see it. This is not what you really expect, because Sand King, like I said, a weak laner early on, but if you can enable a kill combo with the Barrel Strike, then suddenly he becomes a lot scarier.
Yeah, I think we're just a little bit too aggressive position on the Disruptor, and they do have a lot of burst damage. If they can hit a Burrow Strike, you know, you've got the little Shredder, and then just able to find the last hit with the outer reaches of the shotgun.
Oh, and I gotta say, I'm a big fan of this build from Creme de la Ukraine. It's a little greedy, but it pays off because he's shoving in so many waves and getting so much farm for himself. Has the Ring of Health already being delivered on the courier, and from there, this Disruptor's low levels in Thunderstrike are slowly gonna peter off. This Sand King's not gonna be too bothered.
You've also got to remember that in the patch, Thunderstrike also changed. It's the damage per strike was reduced, making this a lot weaker spell in lane, I think. So perhaps that's why we've seen not really been able to see that. Oh, Cookie.
A swing and a miss on both the Cookie and the Barrel Strike, maybe just a bit of miscommunication there as to what was going to happen. But I mean, because of that, Mort gets to walk away scot-free. I'm not sure he would have died there because he's still pretty tanky on that little rock boy, but you know, could have definitely made it dicey. They're not very high on the regen department. They have a lot of tangos, but that's going to take a while to get going.
I have to say the big winner so far of this laning stage has been Ace on this PL. He's even gone 2 points in the Phantom Rush because he's just having such a free time down here. His Dazzle's really, I think his Dazzle's doing really a lot of great work in terms of just keeping these two supports at bay and allowing Ace to just have the freest time. He's got 26 last hits up against the Spirit Breaker's 12, so... Really
I will say though, I was gonna say, JBS, he has to be careful because he can very realistically get busted down, and right as you give him a compliment, he hits the grave. Well done, Benji.
Yeah, well, curse of the commentator, but I don't think that's too bad. I mean, you never want to be feeding kills as a support in your lane, but you know, you'd rather that than this PL get pressured early on.
That's true.
But now has the point in doppelganger, so it should be super safe.
What I will say though is I think JBS is doing a good job, yes. But as we see a poison touch onto Grazing Edge, he's being touched of the poison variety. Can't actually get out. The slow is too strong, and a frostbite on Illusion before she goes off to the other realm. Oh, a lot of pressure coming out. Bananas has to be careful. A lot of damage coming out from this duo of the Dazzle and the PL, and they're making it work. I will say, though, that I feel like Dazzle, JBS, he fell into a bit of a Witch Doctor conundrum. That's what I like to coin it, okay? Let me explain what I mean. Witch Doctor is a dog shit hero, okay?
Yep.
But Witch Doctor has one play, and his play is very, very simple. Hit level 3, throw coconut on you, and maledict with maledict level 2. Now, all you need to do is stay out of his way until that happens, and after that you outfight him. It's the same thing with this lane, right? This lane hits a huge power spike once it hits level 3. CM has both her spells, and the Spirit Breaker has charged and 2 levels in bash, as we see some aggression on the bananas. But that is really the only way JBS can really die here, and he ends up falling for the conundrum, which is something that happens quite a lot. But you know, like you said, not the end of the world. I just wanted an excuse to present my
present your conundrum.
Yeah, my conundrum. Yeah, my findings here.
I think one lane that we haven't talked about, and potentially just because it's not a kill lane, but Pony Ride really doing the business on Lupo in the mid lane. He's 35 and he's got 17 denies, almost as many denies as the puck has last hits, and about 3/4 of a level XP advantage to show for it.
Yeah, I will argue to say that this is a very difficult lane for the puck, because it's not one where you can come up and use the orb to just clear the waves, right? The Viper just has very firm control, and he can sort of plant himself like this little turret in the middle of the lane. 4 levels in the poison attack, which means you can only dodge so much with the phase shift, right? It's not like it really makes the distance for you. As we see Pinx coming out in the top side, nothing much though. That was a little scary. But yeah, they have a nice sentry in the lane, so it's gonna see Crim de la Ukraine. Mod gets a toss back onto Bear, but here comes the Brow Strike as well. Tanking a little bit of damage, but nice little kinetic field, keeping Kim in the range of the tower. And Cat is gonna end up falling for that one. Oh, a nice little pop on 4 Caustic. Mod needs to be careful here, but backs off. And nice little play. I mean,
there's a nice kill for that lane. They were really, you know, falling behind to this Sand King with now Ring of Health. He's pretty untouchable, just sandstorms the creeps, and Tiny can't really do much in terms of standing up. But that is a nice kill to find. On the Tiny, and you know, got the treads finished, got the stick finished. He's looking a little low on health though.
Yeah, we're missing we missed a kill on JBS here. I think once again falls a bit for the Witch Doctor conundrum, but that's okay. I think once this lane gets higher levels in their spells, that's where it kind of gets scary, and one bash on this level 3 greater bash is all it takes to do the Dazzle in, right? I mean, with that kill though, the CM gets a nice little ward here, so any sort of rotation, the one that is coming from Lupo right now is going to be spotted out, but immediately dewarded by JBS. Nice kind of game sense there to spot that one out.
Arcane Rune in the bottle for Lupo, so could still look to make a move, but now that it's been scouted out on the bot lane, you probably just want to get back to this mid, and maybe save the Arcane Rune for another time.
I think one thing I will say is that you know, we talked about how this puck lane is a really tough matchup. This is how Lupo can get himself back on the board, right? Through these rotations with the spells. One thing that Viper kind of sucks at is moving around. He's not the most kind of mobile hero. He just wants to stay in the lane. You run up to him, he just poison attacks you down. He's very susceptible to being caught out alone and burst in the middle of rotation. So that's kind of where I see the coalition coming through to try and punish him.
Yeah. One thing I do want to mention about the PL is he's now level 6, able to jungle, and only 700 gold away from the Diffusal Blade. One of the changes that I thought would affect PL a lot is the nerf to Diffusal Blade, but something that I didn't consider is the fact that it's a lot cheaper now, and you can get to it a lot earlier.
Things coming out, they want to get a kill on the Grazing Edge, and the poor little CM caught in the wrong side of the neighborhood, gonna go down. Lupo, nice little decisive rotation there, spots it out, pings it, and immediately TPs. Makes it happen for the team, but...
His tower could be in trouble though. Pony Ride's starting to hit on this. They will use the Fortify, but I don't think he's going away. I think he can...
Nah, the creeps are running out, but
I mean, start to apply some pressure though here for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Pony Ride went for like the stats build. A TP on the top side. They have to be careful. They're gonna see this here. Creme de la Ukraine can't get out of the reaches of this Viper though, but can fog him out. Can he get out? Creme de la Ukraine scurrying away. Where's the glimpse? The ward out, but it's a sentry. Bear, a slight slip of the finger there could cost him a kill. I think he meant to place a ward there on the other side of the tree line to spot out this Sand King, but Creme de la Ukraine gets out with a sliver of HP. That's an unfortunate move from Pony Ride, and like we said, this Viper very slow on the come up. It's gonna take a while to get back, but Lupo could be the next one spotted. Here comes Bananas, and immediately the Frostbite as well, but gets the phase shift and the orb out. A bit unfortunate on the timing there, but it was only level 1 Frostbite. There's only so much chain stun you can do, and the puck gets out of that scot-free.
on top lane.
Okay, try to get a kill. Creme de la Ukraine, they don't actually. That's a ward. And yeah, out of the sentry range, gets out again. Creme de la Ukraine, the actual mystery man, just getting out of these situations over and over. Like, they just can't touch him.
Okay, Pony Ride has a DD. Now is where I think you can start to see some tower pressure.
Yeah, alongside the catapult as well.
10-minute catapult wave. If he clears out this catapult, we could see this tower take a lot of damage.
Yeah, I think if Coalition want to defend this, they need to bring their Sand King to the mid, right? Just the Sandstorm in front of here. But he's a little caught up at the moment. Doesn't really have a lot of resources to work with as well. And this tower is going to tank a lot of damage. Yeah. I mean, Pony Ride can realistically tank this for a little bit. Oh, no. Ops not to. Okay. Okay, but the charge coming through. They should have seen bananas on the ward here. They should know this is coming, but they're gonna ping out Creme de la Ukraine. Here comes the spells. Grazing Edge falls in the bot lane, but here comes bananas. He's ready to rumble. Bashes up, and the stun out. Not gonna send him in the right direction. The Sand King is gonna fly forward straight into his death. And a nice little gang from bananas over there. Meanwhile, on the bot side, they managed to capitalize on the fact that this CM was left alone, and they pick him off. Diffusal completed on Ace.
Yeah, about 10-minute 30, and that is the diffusal change coming into effect. It just being like 1,000 gold cheaper, it allows you to get to it a lot quicker. But I mean, if you look at the net worth chart, it's really just this PL that's having a good time for the coalition. I mean, this Sand King's down on net worth. The Puck is really having a tough time of it so far up against this pretty oppressive Viper hero.
Lupo. Okay, nice little dodge out on the Viper Strike. Keeps himself alive. That could have been a disaster if he wasn't careful. But Grazing Edge, gonna fish for a little additional nuke, but Lupo gets out that one.
Oh, top lane the glimpse on the Sand King.
Okay, Creme de la Ukraine had a beautiful start to the early stages, but bananas here ready to cause just an absolute riot, and then just
he went back in with the epicenter and did a lot of damage to the 3 heroes, but it was quite spread and wasn't able to find a kill. And then from there you have 3-on-1. You've got the glimpse. It's rough stuff for the Sand King.
Yeah, and PZ.
A lot of weight going to be on this PL, I feel.
Yeah, I think Lupo, like, committing for the tower. Pony Ride, nicely done. Claims the middle tower, and there is so much space on the map. With a Spirit Breaker especially. Oh. We're gonna see what he opts to do with this one. Pony Ride going for the top side. Rotation. They're charging out.
Find much unless...
They want to dive this snap fight here, but it's a little deep. Are there any TP responses? Here comes the Viper Strike. Shotgun blast out. Scatter blast onto Pony Ride, but so tanky on this Viper. Haste roots out as well. But the TP, it's gonna amount to nothing. Ace, the doppelganger straight into the trees just to see the TP animation out, and Ace, he's gonna be stuck in this top side wondering, what the damn hell do I do here?
I think the thing for Ace is you probably want to start playing around this top side pretty soon now. As a PL, you spend your lane in the bot lane, you kind of farm the jungle for as long as you can, and then at some point you go triangle, you push in the wave top, you do the farming rotation where you take the top jungle camp back to triangle. So actually, I don't think this is too bad, and also a big dive attempted onto.
Yeah, that's a little bit deep, but the one thing for Creme de la Ukraine that's coming up is that Blink Dagger has it around 300 gold. Still wants to try and go for aggressive moves though. They know Bear is in the area, but they don't exactly have a finger on where he could be. So it's just gonna end up having 4 heroes just standing around in this top side. I don't really like this posturing from the side of the coalition. It feels like they're a bit scattered. They want to make something happen, but they don't know where it is. And Lupo TPs, could it be into his death? Has to be careful. Here comes the charge as well. Bananas has his eye, but a nice little coil, keeping him alive for now. But where is the support? It's not coming at the moment. Lupo with the AWP out, Grazing Edge. A bit late on that Crystal Nova, but at that point, Lupo walks back into bananas. Nether Strike as well, and Bear with the Static Storm right over his head. Takes down the Puck. That is not what you want to happen in that bot lane. Comes down for a cheeky defense, but here comes the TP in from the Sand King. But he's right on top of a sentry ward. They see him channeling up the epicenter, but where are you going, my friend? These waves aren't hitting nobody other than bananas. They're starting to peel him apart though. Has that bulldoze to keep himself alive, and the diffuser out as well onto Mod, but straight into the CM ultimate. But fire beats ice here and melts that poor little CM by himself. Creme de la Ukraine trying to reach around the bend, but gets cleaned up by the avalanche. And Ace, he's not done just yet, has the diffusal. Here comes the charge as well, but slightly misses. Can he do the damage? He doesn't have it. And Ace Mod
focus his illusions there. I think it was touch and go. If he focuses all his illusions for the duration of him hitting, then perhaps he has the damage. But I've been there, Sometimes you're just controlling the hero, sometimes you're accidentally controlling an illusion.
Yeah.
But still, very nice fight for the coalition. It was what they needed, and that's the perfect situation you want to be in as a PL. Around this sort of diffusal Yasha timing. If you can just show up to a fight where everyone is low and just clean up, that's the ideal situation. And a lot of it was from the kisses from Cat. Really nice placement, catching the CM and also doing a lot of damage to Disruptor, and really allowing the PL to sort of just have free reign at the end of that fight.
That fight honestly went a lot better than what I expected, because it kind of looked like a disaster for them with the puck being caught out first. Here comes Silence as well. Ooh, they have to throw out the coil, but that's a Bulldoze Spirit Breaker here. Here comes the Cookie. Actually catches him.
Nice
JBS,
cookie.
can he get a touch? Oh, has he gone too far though on this Dazzle? Poor little thing. Here comes the Shadow Grave as well, but the charge out Bananas wants his revenge straight into a Silence though, but another Silence right on top of Lupo's head. Viper Strike out as well, and the puck is gonna melt.
So much
a
damage.
huge overextension from the side of the Coalition. Just when it looked like things were looking up for them, they kind of run straight into the Static Storm and straight into their demise.
Yeah, lovely play from Bear there. You think that if you can trade the Dazzle for the Spirit Breaker, that's an ultimate win for the Coalition, but nice identification that you can just use that. You can just drop that Static Storm, you got the Viper TPing in, and way too much damage for this puck to comfortably take.
It just feels like the Coalition have a bit of misjudgment of how much reach they have, right? We saw Bananas was very clearly out of that situation, but they were still trying to fish. As a Dazzle, you don't really have any way of making that. Oh, they smoke and immediately it gets popped. They should know someone's in the area. They find Pony Ride, but has that haste rune on the Viper. This Dazzle is all but dead. Here comes the Shadow Grave to keep himself alive for now, and the Kinetic Field,
be a nice
popping
fight,
Grazing
actually.
Edge with the but the
the
huge
Burrow
out,
Strike.
two-man Barrel Strike from Creme de la Ukraine knocks out the Viper as well as the CM. Those
Ace
are
is
huge
here,
kills.
though.
But here comes
More
Ace
needs to go
Mod.
right now.
You need to be careful. You're running out of mana. Lupo tanking a bit of damage, but Creme de la Ukraine is there, and he's gonna have the Barrel
More
Strike
lands.
up in just a little bit. There it is, and that Tiny is down. That is 3 kills, huge kills for them. Here comes Bananas with the charge, but it's really just to get out of this disaster of a fight. The Dream Core thrown out as well, and there's the Disruptor down. Ace showing up big time for his team, cleaning up everybody on the side of PZ. Only Bananas gets out alive.
Yep, 3,200 damage done by PL in that fight, and he's on top by almost 3,000 net worth. Really has done a great job with this Diffusal Yasha going into the Manta next. Almost has it, and this is the strength of this new Diffusal on PL. You lose a couple of stats from not having the extra Blade of Alacrity on that Diffusal, but it just means you get to this Yasha, this Manta so much earlier than you would have done before. I mean, he got a 13-minute Diffusal Yasha timing. In previous patches, you would have loved to have a 13-minute Diffusal timing. So
yeah, it's just kind of amping up this guy's game even more on top of the
Yeah.
amazing game that he's already having, right? I think one thing I do want to point out is I feel like that fight couldn't have gone any better for the side of Coalition. It's a bit awkward, but the fact that the supports are the one to tank so many spells, and it looked a bit dicey from JBS, but he tanked so much with that Shallow Grave. They overcommitted a lot of spells into him, and because of that, PL, the Puck, and the Sand King just kind of had free reign to do whatever they wanted in the fight, right? Like they're just able to get their spells off, able to throw out the Barrel Strikes, just hit away freely without any real worry. And I really got to give a special shout out to that two-man Barrel Strike, not only nailing the Viper in the back of the head, but finishing off that CM as well. And
an interesting thing I want to point out about this Tiny is committed for the Blitz Snuggles and just has the shard flying out to him now. So sacrificing about 3.5 minutes from that sort of 15-minute peak where you can get the shard. So I don't know, perhaps a little bit of efficiency lost, or maybe values the 35 attack speed from that Blitz Knuckles. Potentially going into a Shadow Blade, I would assume.
Yeah.
Next up for Mort. But you have to feel that losing a little bit of efficiency from not going straight into that shard as soon as possible.
I think it's okay, just because of the fact that I feel like with Tiny, right, like even if you get the shard, if your attack speed is so dog shit, it's gonna feel very bad to farm.
Yeah,
so I assume that this is just a Blitz Knuckle for farming purposes, right? Like he's like, oh, I'm gonna build, maybe at this point in time when he did pick up the Blitz Knuckles, he's like, I got 1k gold, I don't really want to wait around until my shard because that's a bit of efficiency lost. So he just opted to pick this up just to like fill the time before he got the shard. Now, I don't think he was expecting to die like twice.
What lane? Ukraine. Channels epicenter.
Oh, it finishes him off the last few pulses, but needs to be careful as the blink spots out Pony right, immediate blink away. And nice little came to dance today, eh?
I think I have to say PintxoZeuchy are going to have a PL problem very soon. This PL is incredibly fun. Diffusal, Manta, even has the shard as well, so now pushing out lanes, these team fights, he's going to be so much more effective with these illusions just going ham. And not the best illusion clear on the side of PintxoZeuchy. I think they're going to have a big problem, and they really need to start taking some good fights and taking some objectives very soon.
Okay, one thing I will say is I feel like this PL Until he gets his heart, he's still very killable. Bear in mind, if he fights into this Viper's Nether Toxin, that is the illusions not going to be able to be spawning, right? So from there, it's going to really limit his damage output. And even though they don't have the best illusion clear, they have a lot of AoE magic damage. Between the charge flying through everybody, between Mod just throwing up everybody with the toss and the avalanche, and even the cleaves on 3 toss, right? Like, he still has to be careful. This is, I feel like, a very common PL problem where, you know, you're feeling good, you're having a good game as we see a charge on the mid. They want to make a move on to Cat here, but Cat not scared at all, even turning around with the scatter blast and
Nice
the not scatter.
cookie.
Okay,
Oh.
Here comes Viper Strike. Bananas falling a little low. Where is the backup? Falling low, but there is the Shallow Grave, and immediately out comes the call on the Pony Ride. This Viper, has he gone into the wrong neighborhood? Absolutely. Oh, the Barrel Strike just to knock down that grazing HCM with the freezing field. You can't get out of this one, but Ace has to be so careful. Here comes the toss. Not enough. The 3 toss finishes him off, though. That's a huge kill on the PL, but they're going to pay the price for it. There is the Tiny as well, and another Barrel Strike. Once again, it's 4 dead. Bananas, are you sure you want to run in here? They don't have anything to stop him at the moment. They still want to chase, though. Here comes the Hex from the Dazzle Shot. They don't have mana for this Barrel Strike, and they're going to give up for now. There's a 4-for-1 trade, but that's definitely the kill that you needed on PZ. It's a pricey one, though. They kill the PL.
Yeah, I don't know how worth that is. You commit everything onto this PL, and yeah, you finally kill him off, but you lose 4 in return, and it's just... You lose map control because of that. And you saw they had to commit everything. It was... the Disruptor ulti, tried to get the CM ulti down, but a perfect interrupt by the Sand King.
Yeah.
You know, you even had the Tiny hitting into the PL. So a lot committed, and only the PL to find. And yeah, he doesn't really mind 1 death. I mean, it's his first death in the game. He's about 3,000 away from this heart, so really needs that to be able to be unkillable in these fights. But to an extent, it's what PintxoZeuchy need to be doing. They need to be trying to kill this PL at all costs, because if he's left unchallenged, he's definitely going to take over this game, and I see very little chance of PintxoZeuchy coming back.
So the one thing that's going to turn the tide of the fight is Pony right here. Once he gets his BKB, he's only 300 gold away from that. And it's going to make him this unstoppable turret of like immense magic damage, right? So that is something that he's lacking right now. He kind of needs to show himself if he wants to do anything. But that really puts him in a tough spot as well. This BKB is going to change all of that. Of course, a large bulk of the damage coming out from the coalition is magic after all. So he's going to be basically borderline invulnerable. Creme de la Ukraine being charged up, spotted out in the bot side. And the Nether Strike as well finishes off that pesky Sand King, trying to split push the side lane.
Yeah,
a nice little kill for them,
yeah.
Still 5k gold up now though, and like you said, the PL sitting very nicely on top in terms of the net worth, but the Tiny does have a Shadow Blade completed, so could really try and like get a few surprise picks with that one.
I think Cat might be in trouble here.
Cat being spotted up, charged as well.
They do have the whole team.
I mean, they're standing on top of a shrine, so they should know that this is coming. Gotta get charged up. Bananas doesn't have that Nether Strike available, but there's more with the Shadow Blade. The damage, huge. The cookie coming out to stun up Mod for the moment, but JB has been glimpsed back. And this part gonna get out of that situation scot-free, but at the cost of both supports. They try and set up a nice position inside the jungle, but unbeknownst to them, they're being spotted out by Bananas on this charge. He's not done yet. Has his eyes on Lupo. Needs to be quick with the phase shift. There it is.
Nice.
And the blink out immediately.
Was expecting it on Lupo, it seemed like.
Yeah, I think he saw it on the wall.
Standstill.
Yeah.
And nice fights for PintxoZeuchy though. They find 2 kills. And the Tiny doing a lot of damage in that scenario. Gets a really nice 2-hero avalanche. Onto the puck, and I believe it was the Snapfire, if I'm not wrong.
It was the Snapfire.
And it looks like they'll be able to... Ooh, I was going to say convert into a tier 1 on top.
They see Grazing Edge here. They could catch the CM out, but yeah, the Glyph coming out. They're not going to push the issue. They're going to back off for now. And PZ, happy with what they got so far. They're going to go back to farming. And I think one thing we didn't mention is bonus armor on Grow, right? That's going to be so much resistance against these PL illusions and allow him to really just stand there and fight. 18 bonus armor on Grow is insane. I mean, yeah, sure, he has like basically zero like edgy, right? But still.
DD on top. It looks like Coalition are going to discover that out, and that's a nice sort of takeaway from PintxoZeuchy. It looks like they're going to save it for the PL, so could potentially look for a huge fight, or even into Roche. I mean, PL really is not a good Roche taker, but you do have a medallion on this Snapfire, so let's see what they look for. It looks like they're going to look for a fight.
Yeah, I mean, the
Yeah,
heart
what's
almost
the
near
fight?
completion. I kind of would expect him to finish that off first before trying to find another fight, right? Because the PL, like I said, the PL is still very killable. It's just he needs to kind of... The heart is going to be help him get past that break point of
Very
just like...
close to it now.
Yeah.
Just 500 away.
Yeah, just farming away,
So
finishing
looks
things
like
that
we'll
are...
have it for the next fight.
Yeah. Banana's opting for that Shadow Blade instead of the BKB. I don't mind this too much because it allows him to sort of get the jump on this puck, right? It's what we were talking about in the draft as well. If you can kind of catch Lupo with his pants down, that's where the puck is very easily killable. We've seen it a few times this game already, being caught out by the Static Storm and by the Roots. And they need to be really careful here. The top tower is being under some pressure from some illusions. And the Catapult as well. Mod rolling out with the Shadow
I want to
Blade.
defend this.
Yeah.
Losing the top tier 2.
Here comes Banana though,
really
charge
does-
out onto Krem. A bit of an off-laner duo in the mid lane. They're gonna back up. They don't feel comfortable, and I understand why. They're pinging out Bananas. If he shows here, he could be in
complete.
trouble. Yeah, hard complete on this PL. It's definitely hit critical mass here. Level 20 as well. 300 Phantom Rush range talent allows him to really just fly in and find whoever he wants in the fights. And they're gonna use this opportunity to push mid. The charge coming out from Bananas. He's just gonna try and split push. They pinged him out. They know he's going. But they're not going to be able to stop him as they just look towards the mid tower.
Oh,
And
Dream Coil.
okay,
But that's a
bit of
Bulldoze Spirit Breaker.
yeah, they can't actually find him. They're still trying to chase though. Here comes R. Cookie out. Can they land it? Yes, they
Nice.
can.
Oh,
Nicely
R has been
placed
on
from
point.
Lupo. Can they finish him off here?
Withblade
Ticking
damage.
out.
Oh,
And the
yeah.
last hit. Okay, Ace needs to be a little careful here. They could find him alone. They know the
More in
rest.
mid lane, yeah.
Yeah, they need to be careful. Mod is hunting, looking for him. They spot him out. Criminal Ukraine
they do have
though.
a sentry.
Yeah, they have a sentry.
here,
They
though.
could jump him, but the blink out. They offer the backline instead, straight out to Grazing Edge. That's the CM down. And Ace as well, throwing out the Spirit Lance to slow them up for now. Here comes the BKB. They could kite this out here. Ace doesn't need to commit. Epicenter committed as well. And there is the Shallow Grave trying to do whatever damage he can before he goes down. Mod has Mod the BKB himself. This big bad Tiny ready to fight. But there is the
dust
dust.
on Mod.
They found Mod. They found the Tiny. Where's the backup? It's not there. Mod, he's gonna drop. And JBS stays alive through all of it. They lose the Tiny and the Spirit Breaker in exchange for the Sand King. And they're gonna be more than happy with this. They can look towards high ground. Here comes Ace as well. No fear. That was a buyback from Grazing Edge.
And no disruptor ulti as well. Used it on the Sand King on the initiation. So Ace has pretty much free reign in this fight.
Yeah.
And you can see the decision to go high ground.
Yeah, they don't have a lot of
Tiny
mana to
does not
work
have
with.
buyback.
Yeah, I mean, Ace not looking too hot in terms of the mana department, but I don't think he really needs it. The silence out to stop Bananas mid-charge. Here comes Ace. Throwing out the Spirit Lance for now. Pony Ride dishing out a lot of damage though. They need to be careful. They can't overextend at this point. This Viper is still very formidable. Doesn't have the BKB. So in a moment, they could just kind of... Oh! Ace actually finishes off the Disruptor with the shot! And the supports, they just can't stand up. We saw how fast Grazing Edge went down to the harass. And Ace, he's trying to do the work onto this barracks right now. Doesn't have a lot of mana to work with, like I said. So they're gonna have to be a little bit careful, but they're still sitting so healthy thanks to this Dazzle. Here comes the Viper Strike as well, but there is the Shallow Grave. A bit preemptive. Nether Strike out onto the Dazzle and the buyback onto the Disruptor. They need to run now. They need to be careful, but they're not scared at all. The Dazzle is gonna drop. But falling a little low. They could get the charge. Oh, Disruptor. Nope, can't get in range for the Glimpse, and they're gonna get away scot-free. They only lose their Dazzle, and overall they take the melee Rags in the mid lane just like that.
Yeah, it was just the for me the big thing in that fight is just the disruptor ulti being used early.
If they get their eyes on this regen rune, they could just go straight into Roche.
Yeah, PL does have a mana problem, but you know, regen rune kind of solves that. And I think the Roche is definitely the next objective.
Okay, Lupo takes it instead.
Selfish.
Alright.
But yeah, Roche looks to be next on the agenda. You've got the medallion on the Snapfire. PL not joining.
Yeah, they seem a bit undecided, but I think Ace was just like, oh wait guys, I'm farming. I'm
farming here. But yeah, PintxoZeuchy. I think even if they knew this was going on, they probably wouldn't come and contest.
Oh, what is this? What is this build? Like, wait, he has a Blitz Knuckles Claymore. Is he going for a Shadow Blade? He's queued up a Void Stone though. Is this a new item or am I high?
And checking. Orchid.
Yeah, right. I
Yeah,
forgot that was
I
the
love
build.
it.
Yeah, this was the build that you've been prophesizing as well, Benj.
Yeah, well, it's not the first item Bloodthorn, as I am going to try in my pubs, but I do love the Orchid pickup. I think it's a carry item now, and I think you would agree with me on that, Mike.
Yeah, I think it's just so much additional amp in terms of damage for these shards that he's got to throw out, right? Right now, he's just kind of picking at them, whittling away at them, and they see bananas here. Is he going to throw a Battle Strike? Stray one, and the Shadow Amulet as
Shadow
well.
Blade.
Oh, the Yu slightly off the mark there, Creme de la Ukraine.
Did they have vision?
I think they did not. But they probably
It's
saw
interesting
him,
that
like, fading out there.
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah, no. I think what it was is he probably saw the TP animation, but he didn't see the hero, so he just clicked in that general area and he clicked himself instead.
Interesting thing from this orchid, from this like Bloodthorn purchase that Ace is going for, also has the Mage Slayer component now. So this Viper's magical damage that he's dealing going to be a lot less prevalent. It feels like. In
That's
fights.
true. Yeah,
And
I mean,
with the lamp spam is always going to be on him.
yeah, that's true. So it's something we didn't really consider, but these illusions are just going to be proccing so much. Oh, and there it is immediately. They just Orchid instantly, and Grazing Edge just melts. There's no buyback on the CM. Ace, he's caught in this Static Storm, but where is the follow-up? There's the Battle Strike. Pony Ride forced to pop the BKB. Creme de la Ukraine falling a little low. Where's JBS with the backup? Not there in time. The Sand King falls a little low, but here comes Bananas trying to clear out the backline. The Dazzle is down, but Ace is alive, and he's working on this poor little Spirit Breaker. No Boodles to help you now, my friend, as he falls down, and a nice cookie from R yet again. Nail in the coffin for PZ. They're coming out buybacks in force. Pony Ride as well as Bananas. They're trying to do what they can onto Lupo, but Lupo, he's falling a little low. Ultra kill already on Ace. He's just tearing them apart. Pony Ride trying to run. This is the buyback from the Viper. This is your mid laner. There is the Avalanche, but Ace, he still has the Aegis to work with. Has to back off for now. Nice little bash from Bananas.
Look at them instantly retreat to the fountain as he respawns.
Yeah, they need a backup. Ace.
He's got the puck coming back up now.
Yeah, way too formidable.
This is definitely going to be another lane of racks. You cannot fight this on PintxoZeuchy, it feels like.
Yeah, that was a
Mort did buy out for the blink, so maybe we could get a nice toss back onto this PL.
They really... They just need to go on the back line.
Yeah.
They just need to go on the back line, and Banana's trying to do that right there, but doesn't latch. They spur Sentry down, so they see Mort here. JBS, that's the buyback on Dazzle. No. He's gonna drop. Pony Ride is dead though. 100 seconds without the Viper. That is really tough for them to fight now. Ace, he just cleans up the second lane of Rags. I don't know whether this game just yet, but it looks like the beginning of the end for sure.
Does still have a tier 2 up in the bot lane.
Charge out to R, Nether Strike as well. Where is the Brow Strike backup? Not in time from Creme de la Ukraine. There is the Sandstorm, but has to use himself. They have a sentry on him though, but the Barrel Strike away and the pause from Ace.
Oh, okay. I thought that there might be something wrong with the PL because he did just sort of walk away from his team while they were fighting. I don't know if they're related, but it seemed like an odd decision from the PL to just sort of go farm Ancients right now while your team is sort of still engaging with the 3 heroes here.
Yeah, they're just like Ace, where you at, man? And he's just like disconnected from the call. Like, oh,
I mean, that's classic PL.
Yeah, that's classic PL. So just.
Do they have vision on this Sanking?
They do.
For some reason, I can't see Sentry Ward range.
Yeah, I can't either, but I think it's just in range. If he steps out a bit more, he might be in trouble though.
But obviously the route not
I'm gonna take this opportunity to go to the washroom real quick because I'm having digestion issues, as I alluded to earlier.
Okay.
I'll be quick. Smile, hopefully.
Smile.
Okay, be right back.
Okay. See.
You can carry the cast for now. Smile.
Carrying the cast.
I'm gonna put the camera on PL.
Okay. We got to pause here, guys. Looks like the coalition pretty in control of this game. PintxoZeuchy definitely have a PL problem. He's going in for this Bloodthorn next, an item which I think is a really good PL item. He's also closing in on level 25. Now, I think this is not a common one, but I think it's definitely a critical strike game. Typically, you do want to go for that doppelganger CD just to make sure you're completely elusive in the fights, but he has not really died. I mean, obviously, we saw him lose the Aegis, but that was when he was kind of diving fountain for that rampage, up against 3 heroes on his own. I think this is definitely one where you can afford to go for the critical strike. Because as we're seeing, having a little bit of... he's not really being able to blow up these heroes as quickly as he might like. So I think this is definitely a critical strike game. It looks like this Sand King is going to go down. So it will be 3 heroes lost for Coalition. Might have to back off a bit. But Lupo's in a good position to start pushing on towards this final tier 2 tower. And I think that the game is still in good stead for Coalition. On the side of PintxoZeuchy, they have just lost their Viper lost their Viper to a dieback. And if you look at the net worth, he's pretty far down there. Just as Maelstrom, Lance, BKB. Obviously, BKB probably the most important out of the items. But after his very good start in the mid lane, we haven't seen sort of the sort of steep upward trajectory from him. He's really not really delivered as it comes to the mid game. In contrast, Lupo's been doing great things. Currently has the Blink, Witchblade, does have around 1.9k, so seeing what he goes for next, and has the Kai Sanj also, which is meaning he's going to be doing a lot in this fight. We've seen the Dream Cores being very liberal with them, which I think is the way to play. You don't want to save it for the perfect 4-hero Dream Core. You just get it down and find the pick off to start the fight, which really makes it go in your favor. And that's what they've done on the Coalition. They've really found the pickoffs that have allowed this PL to have a free roam in the fights. Maybe they've jumped on a hero and forced the Disruptor ulti really quickly. They've done a really good job of making these fights be a lot more suited to them and a lot more sort of in their favor. All right. Let's see, this Sand King will in fact die. Charge comes out, and 3 heroes down for the side of Coalition, but unlikely to make any moves on the side of PintxoZeuchy with their Viper still dead for 60. More, as we mentioned, did buy out for that Blink, but with those kills up to 2k gold, so now looking like gonna finish off the Silver Edge. Very nice tiny item. No real great breaks in this game. Oh, they did find a PL. A little bit isolated. He's going to turn onto the tiny BKB. And now onto the Spirit Breaker CM ult as well. But it looks like Ace. He is going to get caught. Oh, does he get bashed outside of the kinetic field? It doesn't matter. He's getting chain bashed here. Manages to take down Spirit Breaker, but dies. That is not what I expected. And now Lupo could be in trouble. Phase shift. Gets rooted. Doesn't have any spells up and going to die. Wow. Huge kills for PintxoZeuchy as they find both the PL and the Puck. PL dead for 80, no buyback. And this is a real opportunity for PintxoZeuchy to take some sizable map control. I'm sure they're looking towards that tier 2 on bot tower. At this current
Yikes, what the fuck?
The PL just died.
Well, like, did he reconnect and die or what?
No, so he just took a fight against 3 heroes. He managed to take down the Spirit Breaker, but I thought there was ample time for him to be able to disconnect from the fight, and he just didn't.
I'm so sorry. I thought my camera was following. He just died, and then it just... Unfortunate.
Yeah.
Okay, at least we didn't miss the action that actually happened. Like, he just died there, right?
Yeah, I mean...
Sorry, everyone. I'm having horrendous digestion problems.
I hope you're doing all right, Mikey. It's a 3-game set, Potential 3 games.
Yeah, I'm really not. Like,
It's right. As I said, we'll carry the cast for you. Oh,
thank you.
So Tiny finished off the Silver Edge. Is approaching the net with the PL and going to go in for the AC next. What do you think about this one?
I like it. I mean, this is a cookie cutter, right? Like, you don't need to get too fancy. You just need to cleave down this PL. The AC is gonna help his team survive as well, and just gonna allow them to push the high ground or push towers. Because apart from the Tiny, that's something they kind of lack. I mean, we saw some early tower pressure from Pony, right? But the Viper's time has sort of come and gone, right? Like, it's a bit hard for him to just stand there and do the damage now because there's so much magic damage flying out. He really needs to play for his BKB time, but it's only 6 seconds, man.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the 6-second BKB is that much of an issue. Ukraine charged in on by Bananas. No follow-up.
The Nether Strike BKB is kind of annoying, yeah.
Yeah, but Ukraine not really in that much trouble. No real damage items coming out from Bananas, so it's a pretty low-risk play, but he does put the Nether Strike on cooldown.
Oh, I heard BKB.
Ooh, BKB.
Yeah, what's going on? Oh, mod!
Perhaps a misclick.
Oh dear, that's not... I mean, it's already 6 seconds, so it's not the end of the world.
Yeah,
but,
it really doesn't mean anything. It does. The thing it means is that PintxoZeuchy don't want to take a fight for the next 60 seconds.
Yeah, and I mean, like, it's not like the Coalition caught sight of that, so it's not that big of a deal.
And then lanes are in a pretty good spot. Looks like Ace changing up his item build. I think the fact that they died... this is a classic PL player. I just died. I need some more HP. Let me go Skadi.
Yeah, yeah.
Classic PL player shenanigans. but still in a
inside the
position where
mind
can
of
get
the mind of a PL player.
But this is a really nice item, and really this Viper's game is going to be
I
very
actually
personal.
think like I mean I like the Orchid, yes, but I thought that Skadi would have been brilliant this game. Like I feel like Skadi is like the nail in the coffin for him to win the game, right?
Yep. It's
Because
going to be
he's gonna rip
much
away
better
at this
against
high
Tiny.
HP. Like look at this
Yeah.
Tiny, like what 3.6k HP. You're gonna tear him apart, man.
smoke up from Coalition.
Oh, a little bit of
Oh, they catch the
misinformation.
Spirit Breaker.
Yeah, Bananas, he's expecting to be alone here because they just scanned out.
Oh, he just
they
used
see
the
him though,
charge.
but there is the bounce strike. Charge out, you're right. But there is the hex from this dazzle. The dust is there. And Bananas, he can't get out of this situation. That
Right
was
back
a
to
bit of a information disruption that they scanned this area out and it went red. So they thought they were doing Roche, but really it was just the Lupo TPing from the back end of the Roche pit. So it gave them a bit of misinformation. Banana's like, I can push this wave, I'll be fine there. And Roche, right? And he shows right as they're just about to gank
That's
him.
such an unfortunate play.
Yeah, that's...
I didn't realize that actually went down. But yeah, probably not intended by Lupo, but giving PintxoZeuchy the slip and potentially high ground on the menu.
Oh, and just like
This is the
that, they're
final
gonna
wave,
roll.
Rax.
Yeah, they're gonna roll back up to the high ground as well. Ace, with that Skadi completed,
Ace.
like we said. Nothing much to be afraid of. Grazing Edge. That CM was the last pick. Oh, Static Storm out a little bright and early. Here comes more as well. Grazing Edge in with the freezing field, but immediately silenced out by Lupo. That BKB is over for the Tiny. And what are you gonna do now? Pony Ride BKB. But the Barrel Strike, it's not gonna latch onto him for now. But what's gonna latch is Ace straight onto Mort.
Oh,
That
so much
Tiny
damage.
is down. Has the buyback, but the Viper is just gone. There's no buyback on your Spirit Breaker as well as the Viper and Tiny. What are you gonna do? You don't have a BKB charge to work with. Uh-oh,
It's just
Bear.
megas.
I do have to wonder what that initiation was all about. That was a bit of a optimistic Static Storm to say the least. And it just kind of clips onto Creme de la Ukraine, who just stands there, tanks it as well as Ace. And that's mega creeps for the side of the Coalition. And now the game is looking nigh impossible. They're gonna
on
try
the
and make a
Dazzle.
go here. Straight onto Dazzle
Oh, but he
is
gets
Bananas,
the-
but gets the Shadow Grave off.
Oh,
Even has the
no.
Greaves to keep himself alive if he needs it. Not at the moment though. Pops it just for the sake of it. Keeping himself healed up. JBS. Okay, here comes the charge out to Cat. Where's the backup? Immediately the Hex out from the Poison Touch. Keeping Mort off. For now. And gonna survive with the pipe. The Shadow Grave as well. Keeping him alive. Mort, no BKB. Here comes Ace. An assassin true to his name. Taking down
two.
this Tiny. And
Can't get it
that
off.
is
And
the
that should be
Tiny
game.
down.
Oof.
Revenge for the
GG.
slight little kill at the triangle there, and they're gonna call GG. It's a pretty clean game for the side of Coalition. Things look rough. Things look pretty rough in the laning stage early on, but they managed to pull it together on the back of their PL, and this is exactly what we said the Coalition are good at, right? They just are so good at playing around their carry. Now, I'm not sure whether this is QB here, who's playing the carry right now, under a different name. But regardless, Ace really put on a masterclass on that PL, only dying twice. What a player.
Very nice game. Just did what they needed to do. I mean, it sounds simple, but like on a PL, when you have this kind of start and this kind of game, it's all about just doing the simple things. Hitting high ground when you need to, just playing the fights the right way. Did have a couple of slip ups. That death by the triangle being the main one, but very nicely played by them. And I thought the lineup of Coalition around played very well to support. Particularly, I want to pick out the Snapfire. Some excellent cookies. So it felt like every single cookie was on the money. Some really nice ultis as well. So
This is not a conventional Snapfire build as well, right? Going very, very supportive instead of like just playing for herself. Sometimes we see Snapfires like to go that blink and the shard and all that fancy stuff. But she just literally became like this immovable object for her team, right? Instead of like the Spirit Breaker's real only play was to go on the Dazzle, but always backed up by that magic, like the pipe magic, resistance aura, as well as the Solar Crest as well, just to empower this PL even more. Like was just such a force to be reckoned with in the middle of the fights, and it allowed this Sand King to go for a greedier build himself as well, and it works out for Creme de la Ukraine.
nice first game win for PintxoZeuchy. This is obviously a best of 3, so we'll see how